If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
At the surface level, you wouldn't notice the differences. At deep personal level, you would notice they communicate differently. The keyword is communication. Source: 1. The easiest way to spot the difference is that a true introvert usually listens more than talking. If they're asking you some questions, they will simply listen to you and they will not interrupt you when you talk. They know when to talk. While I observe many extroverts love to talk, they don't hesitate to interrupt people when they are talking. This may sound a little bit stereotypical for the both, but you can see the proof is everywhere. When it comes to talking, you may also notice the introverts talk slower than extrovert peers. Extroverts talk faster and clearer than introverts. It doesn't make introverts better than extroverts, or vice versa. They have their own strength and weakness. As an introvert myself, I understand my strength is a willingness to listen to people when they want to be heard. Source: what are the differences between introvert and extrovert communication? Footnotes 1, image on patricia-weber. As an INFJ, I listen a lot, but because a lot of my friends and rels are extroverts and like to dominate conversation, I sometimes have to interject as it never get a word edgewise. Though I have been accused of getting a case of verbal diarrhea, this will only be in extreme cases. I also came from a family that was highly dysfunctional and talking was often used in a form of defense. I digress. As a youngster I wouldn't speak for hours or days, I just wanted to be left to figure things out for myself. So I became extremely introverted, which was very challenging for those around me, but I found the ability to use and conserve my energy by only using just the right amount of words to get my message across, but not waste any time withering on about things, or just talking for the sake of talking was to me, and still is, an important differential that you need to make here. It isn't about the perception of how the person communicates, but how they conserve the energy and the conditions in which they best recharge their mental and emotional batteries in, so that they are capable of going into the external world and continuing to function at their optimal and communicative best. To me, there as humans we communicate at various levels. We can use the most subtle of processes to get our message across. One thing as an introvert Eva found that is very powerful is the art of the long hard stare. When you feel that the conversation is getting a little too out of your comfort zone and that the conversation is moving in a direction that isn't to the introvert's advantage, it's useful if used sparingly. It gives us the opportunity to circle our wagons and often redirect or refine our communication or send it in another better, more comfortable dimension that we're trying to reach. Yes, they do talk differently. There are many ways in which they differ. Here are just 3 of the more easily observable ones. There are differences because they process differently. The introvert processes inside and the extrovert processes outside. Thus in the introvert there is typically a slightly slower response rate, and a slight pause while they think internally, before they answer. The extrovert thinks out loud, so there is often a faster, almost immediate response rate. There may also be a difference in volume level. The introvert may overall speak more quietly. The extrovert may speak more loudly. There may also be a difference in distancing. The introvert may generally stand further away from the person they are talking to. The extrovert may stand closer. However, there are 8 different types of introvert and 8 different types of extrovert on the MBTI, so these are generalizations. Also, there are always individual differences. Yes, they do. Introverts don't think aloud. They process internally, and then speak. Extroverts process aloud. The more extroverted, the more they do this. This happens all the time with my extroverted friends and work colleagues. It's very confusing for an introvert listener until you get used to it. You'll see more of a pause from an introvert answering a question than from an extrovert. The more introverted the individual, the more frequent or longer the pauses. Extroverts have to get used to this in us too. I imagine it annoys or confuses some of them. That's all I can think of. As far as differences, talking speed or subject matter is not tied to introversion/extroversion. Even volume is iffy. No. Introverts don't talk differently than extroverts. The basic mechanism of talking is the same in each and every individual. You think, find the appropriate words, push air against the vocal cords so that they vibrate and produce sound. Then you use your teeth, tongue, lips to modulate the sound into legible words accompanied by appropriate facial expressions. The only difference is that extroverts think quickly and express themselves completely regardless of the company, time, place and situation. Whereas introverts take time, weigh different scenarios and let off only what they think is relevant.